12 Golden Age actresses who lost their beauty in the saddest ways. The silver screen preserved them at their most perfect, young, radiant, immortal. For millions of viewers, Hollywood's Golden Age actresses were the definition of beauty itself. Their faces larger than life, their glamour seemingly eternal. But the cameras eventually stopped rolling. The spotlights dimmed. And these iconic women faced something far more devastating than any fictional drama they ever performed: the loss of the very beauty that had defined them. Today, we're exploring the heartbreaking stories of 12 legendary actresses whose stunning looks were stolen not just by time, but by tragedy, illness, addiction, mental health struggles, and desperate attempts to preserve what was slipping away. Some transformations happened gradually over decades. Others came with shocking suddenness. But each story reveals the cruel paradox at the heart of Hollywood: an industry that worshipped beauty while systematically destroying the women who possessed it. In our number 2 entry, it might be the most devastating beauty tragedy Hollywood has ever known. A story so heartbreaking that even hardened industry insiders still find it difficult to discuss. These aren't just tales of aging or vanity. They're profound human dramas about identity, worth, and what happens when the face in the mirror no longer matches the image frozen in time on film. For most of us, aging happens gradually, privately, a process we navigate without the world's judgment. But for Hollywood's most beautiful women, growing older meant watching their most precious professional asset dissolve under the merciless scrutiny of fans, critics, and studio executives who had built fortunes on their perfect faces. The psychological toll was immense. When your entire identity and livelihood are built around your appearance, what happens when that appearance fundamentally changes? How do you cope when the very quality that made you special, that made you you in the public's mind, begins to fade? The 12 women we're about to meet answered these questions in dramatically different ways. Some fought against time with every weapon at their disposal. Others retreated from public view entirely. A few faced challenges that went far beyond normal aging, health crisis, addiction, and mental illness that ravaged their legendary beauty from the inside out. Their stories aren't just cautionary tales about the price of fame. They're deeply human narratives about women trapped in an impossible dilemma, forced to watch helplessly as their most valuable assets slipped away in the cruelest of circumstances. We're both married, and we both know it. Isn't there a word for it? 1. Hedy Lamarr. When genius couldn't save beauty. When Hedy Lamarr arrived in Hollywood in the late 1930s, her beauty was so extraordinary that it seemed almost unreal, as if someone had painted a perfect face and then somehow brought it to life. With her symmetrical features, luminous skin, and hypnotic dark eyes, she wasn't just attractive. She was almost otherworldly. Louis B. Mayer, the powerful head of MGM, promoted her as the most beautiful woman in the world. Not as hyperbole, but as simple fact. What made Lamarr's beauty particularly remarkable was its classical perfection. While many Hollywood stars had distinctive looks or signature features, Lamarr possessed the kind of flawless symmetry that transcended trends and fashions. Mathematicians later analyzed her facial proportions and found them to align almost perfectly with the classical golden ratio that defines ideal beauty across cultures and throughout history. On screen, this extraordinary beauty translated into an almost hypnotic presence in films like Others, Samson and Delilah, and White Cargo. The camera lingered on her face in ways that would have seemed excessive with any other actress. Co-stars often reported feeling upstage simply by being in the same frame with her. Actor George Sanders once remarked, "When Hedy walked onto a set, everything else disappeared." But Lamarr harbored a secret that few in Hollywood knew. Behind that perfect face was one of the most brilliant minds in the entertainment industry. A self-taught inventor, she worked on various projects in her spare time between films, eventually co-developing and patenting a frequency-hopping technology designed to prevent Nazi forces from jamming Allied torpedo signals during World War II, This groundbreaking innovation would later become the foundation for GPS, Bluetooth, and Wi-Fi technology used by billions of people today. This remarkable combination, unparalleled beauty, and exceptional intelligence, should have given Lamar resources to navigate the inevitable challenges of aging with grace and perspective. Instead, it set the stage for one of Hollywood's most tragic declines. As Lamar entered her 40s and 50s, the rose began to dry up, not because her talent had diminished, but because the industry had no interest in allowing their most beautiful woman to age naturally on screen. Studios that had once competed for her services now passed her over for younger actresses. The press, once reverential, began making snide comments about her appearance. For a woman whose identity had become so intertwined with her beauty, this rejection was devastating. Unlike some actresses who developed other aspects of their careers as producers, directors, or businesswomen, Lamar had kept her intellectual gifts largely hidden, fearing they would detract from her image. "Any girl can be glamorous," she famously said. "All you have to do is stand still and look stupid." Now, with her beauty fading and her scientific achievements still unrecognized, her groundbreaking patent had expired before it could be commercially utilized. Lamar found herself facing a crisis of identity. Her response was to turn to cosmetic procedures. But in an era before modern techniques had been developed, beginning in the 1960s, Lamar underwent multiple plastic surgeries performed by doctors using now outdated methods. The results were far from the subtle enhancements modern celebrities enjoy. Her once perfect features began to look stretched and unnatural. Worse, she became convinced she could improve upon these professional procedures herself. According to those close to her, in her later years, Lamar began performing her own cosmetic touch-ups, injecting herself with various substances, applying homemade face masks, and even attempting minor surgical corrections. The result was disastrous. The face that had once been mathematically perfect became distorted almost beyond recognition. By the 1970s, Lamar had become reclusive, rarely appearing in public and refusing most photographs. On the rare occasions when she was photographed, the contrast between her current appearance and her iconic beauty was shocking. Her once perfect features seemed to have melted and reformed in ways that bore little resemblance to the face that had captivated millions. The final years of Lamar's life were spent in near complete isolation in a small apartment in Florida. She communicated with the outside world, primarily by telephone, maintaining relationships with her children and a few close friends, but avoiding in-person meetings whenever possible. When she died in 2000 at the age of 85, few people had seen her face in years. The cruel irony of Lamar's story is that recognition of her brilliant mind came too late to offer her an alternative identity to the beauty that had defined her. It wasn't until the 1990s, when Lamar was in her 80s, that her pioneering work in frequency hopping technology began to receive serious attention and acclaim. In 1997, she was finally honored with the Electronic Frontier Foundation's Pioneer Award, but she was too reclusive to attend the ceremony, sending her son to accept it on her behalf. She invented the technology behind Wi-Fi, remarked one technology historian, but couldn't reinvent her fading beauty. It's a devastatingly accurate summation of a woman whose gifts extended far beyond the perfect face that ultimately became her prison. Wait, and you're doing it another. I'm sorry, but I don't know that part of the routine. 2. Rita Worth. When beauty loses its mind. If Hollywood's golden age had a defining image of glamour, it might be Rita Hayworth tossing back her glorious auburn hair in Gilda, a moment so iconic that it was literally painted on the side of an atomic bomb. As the ultimate 1940s sex symbol, Worth combined sensuality with an unexpected vulnerability that made audiences not just desire her, but care about her. Her perfect heart-shaped face, legendary red hair, and graceful dancer's body made her the fantasy of millions. Soldiers kept her pinned up in their lockers, submarines, and barracks throughout World War II. At the height of her fame, it seemed impossible that anything could diminish Worth's extraordinary beauty. Even in her 30s and early 40s, When many actresses began to worry about their longevity, Worth remained stunning. Films like Pal Joey 1957 showcased a woman still in full command of her legendary appeal with critics, noting that she had matured gracefully without losing the qualities that made her special. But behind the scenes, something troubling was beginning to happen. Something neither Worth nor those around her fully understood. It started with small incidents on set in the late 1950s. Worth, once known for her exceptional memory and professionalism, began struggling with her lines. She would appear confused about simple stage directions or forget conversations from earlier the same day. Many, including Worth herself, attributed these problems to stress, exhaustion, or her increasing reliance on alcohol to calm her nerves. By the early 1960s, however, the issues had become impossible to ignore. During the filming of The Money Trap, 1965, crew members reported that Worth would sometimes freeze in the mid.